guys a quick post video of all the gear that I had with me at the end of Katahdin. So here we go. I want to first start with my big three. I ended up staying with the Aerial 65 Osprey pack, the full entire AT trip. I love this pack. It's a really awesome pack. It carries really well with the gravity system that it has, but it's a whopping 4.5 pounds. So if I were to do it over again, I definitely would go with an ultralight backpack that's maybe 2 or 3 pounds and cut weight in this area. I stayed with my Thermarest pad, which is about 1 pound. This pad worked for me all the way through the AT. It didn't have any holes. It was very durable. I thought it was comfortable. It worked out really well. I ended up staying with the Nemo Hornet 2-person tent. I split up my poles and my tent so that it fit better in the pack. I carried my poles on the side and then the tent in the bottom of the pack. I used to carry my tent on the outside, but it actually carries better if it's inside. And then for my big three is I used the Western Mountaineering Versalite sleeping bag. I love this sleeping bag. It's a 10-degree bag. It worked for me in the very beginning of the trip all the way to Maine. It's right now and it's like normal, just everyday stuff sack so that it can be puffy for the down. But I did carry this stuff sack for it and it fit in the bottom of my bag. It worked out really well. Highly recommend the Western Mountaineering. As for my big three are 9 pounds. So in the end, if I were to do a through hike again, I'd probably keep all of this and change out my backpack and lose 2 pounds here. For my stuff sacks, I use these stuff sacks. These are a little bit more industrial and they're a little bit heavier, but they worked really well. I like these see-through stuff sacks a lot. I use this one as my food bag, especially like if I need something at the very bottom and I didn't know where it was, we could easily find it and pull it out. I saw many hikers dumped their food bag completely out all over the place because I just couldn't find what they needed. In the end, I might end up changing out my bags. So between like these 2 bags, this is about, I don't know, 5 ounces and this is about 2 ounces. So if I were to switch out all of my bags to the Z-Pack bags, I'd probably save about 1/2 pound, which is a lot of weight, and I'll probably do that if I do another through hike. For my rain jacket, I used the Helium 2 rain jacket. I bought it a size bigger. I really like this rain jacket. It's really breathable. It's super light, but I did still sweat in it. So if it was really hot and it was raining, I was sweating. And if I was sweating in my rain jacket, I normally just took off the rain jacket. But it was crucial when it was really windy and cold. It kept the wind off. I also carried my puffy. This is the Mountain Hardwear Ghost Whisper puffy. This is probably one of my favorite gear items of like ever. I would never get rid of this puffy. Carried it in the beginning because it was extremely cold, but I also carried it in Maine because Maine got cold too. So I never needed to send it home. I used the Nemo Elite pillow. This is also probably one of my favorite pieces of gear. This is really light, it's super soft and super comfortable. It's 3.8 ounces, and then it also stuffs down into this little bitty bag, so it's very, very small. For trekking poles, I did the Diamondbacks. They worked really well for me. I did have this middle part bend on me 3 times, but Diamondback has a great warranty process and great customer service, and then while I was on trail, they just sent me this part twice. So it worked out really well. Liked my poles a lot. This is Ralph. He's my mascot. He came all the way from Stringer Mountain to Katahdin with me. He's like 3 ounces, but definitely a morale booster, and I just kind of had him on the outside of my pack. So I really like my mascot. Kind of recommend carrying one. I think they're kind of fun in the end. So for the small stuff, I carried the seat pad for, I got it about 400 miles in. $15 investment, well worth the money. Not just when it's raining that you want to have a nice seat, when it's cold, it keeps you a little bit warmer. But then the thing is I also use this as a leveler at night when I was sleeping. So say I didn't set my tent up on a very level ground, this was perfect. I could put this on one side of my pad and it would lift me up just enough where I would be even. I had a hard time if I was sleeping on level, I just couldn't sleep. For my water filtration system, I used the Be Free. I started off with the Sawyer. I like the Sawyer, but in the end, I really like the B3 better. It's a faster system. I was able to filter water within like 5 minutes, and the Sawyer took a lot longer. It just didn't have as good of a flow. I think that the bag system worked better for me than the Sawyer. So for my med kit, originally when I started in February, I had a 1 pound med kit, and I actually carried all of this stuff for about 1,700 miles. In the end, I realized I didn't really need any of it, and this is what I ended up with. The pain meds, ibuprofen, Tylenol, and naproxen. It's really essential that you have all three because you can kind of mix and match, because after a while, maybe like Tylenol will stop working for you, or ibuprofen stops making things like the pain go away. So you kind of mix and matched. I also brought Benadryl. I had a little bit of allergies. I actually never ended up using it. And Azo Standard. I was pretty prone to UTIs, so I was very worried about getting them. Actually, it was fine and never ended up needing this, but I did have some hikers that knew that I was carrying it that ended up asking me for it a couple of times. I carried hydrocortisone cream. There are so many bugs out there. Bugs and poison ivy and poison sumac and what else you never know that you're going to get. Hydrocortisone cream is great. You can put it on whatever is itchy and it will make it go away. Also, while I was on trail, I got athlete's foot, so I ended up carrying athlete's foot. This cream, you're taking showers in so many different places, and like it's not always the cleanest places, so you're pretty prone to getting this. Just be careful. Wearing like flip-flops or something in the shower is definitely needed. Also carried Neosporin for all my cuts and scrapes, chapstick, and peroxide. I also carried this Blistex for chafing. Anytime that it was really sweaty or it was raining, I definitely chafed between my thighs and up my butt. So this was crucial. It gave me some relief, basically. It made it a little bit cooler and able to go. Sometimes my chafing was so bad, I just could not go. So if I didn't have this, I wouldn't have walked all those miles. I carried bug spray for a little bit at the end in Maine. The black flies weren't that bad, but the mosquitoes were terrible. I also carried earplugs in every single shelter that I was in. There's always somebody that snores, so it was very crucial that I had these or I wouldn't have gotten any sleep. Carried a headlamp, sunglasses, a couple of Q-tips, some extra hair ties. These hair ties didn't just come in handy for my hair, but also for like if I needed to tie something up, like I always used them. Carried a permanent marker for hitchhiking signs. I used this about 5 times. And the hitchhiking signs definitely helped me get hitches. And then my electronics had a 20,000 watt Anchor battery. This thing would charge my phone up to 4 times, and it lasted me all the way through the Smokies. We actually went to the Smokies without going to Gatlinburg, and it lasted 8 days. And then all the cords that go along with this. For my cooking system, I used the jet boil system. I really like this system. It's a little bit heavier, but I think it's worth the wait because it heats up the water quicker than a normal one, and then I ended up using less fuel. Use the jet boil burning system. I have a titanium cup. These titanium cups are nice. They're super light, but when you put boiling hot water in the morning and you're drinking your coffee, the edge gets so hot it'll burn your lips, so you need one of those rubber lip things. I would actually recommend getting a plastic cup. Plastic cup is just as heavy and you're not going to have that problem. I carried a buff, a bandana, and a handkerchief. This buff is amazing. I used it when it was cold and when it was hot. I also used it as a shirt when I went swimming. I did not carry a swimming suit. So the buff is great, highly recommended. I use the handkerchief to clean my jet boil in the morning and at night. And then I used, the bandana, and then I used the handkerchief for everything else. If I needed to blow my nose or wipe off sweat, these were the 3 things that I was able to live with. As for my shoes, so I used the Lone Peak Ultras all the way through. I ended up getting 4 pairs of these, about 500 miles for each pair. I love the Ultras. These did wonders for my foot. But the Ultras are not for everything. In the beginning, when wearing these, my Achilles were killing me. They were in so much pain, I didn't think I was going to be able to go through. But eventually, my ankle strengthened, my Achilles strengthened, and everything was fine. It actually ended up helping my ankle. I had an ankle problem. Love the Ultras. But just be wary, the Waltons are not for everyone. I know a couple of hikers tried them out and it just didn't work for them. They recommend that you wear these a year and a half before your through hike, just to make sure that your foot is ready for them. With the Ultras, I did Darn Tough socks. I carried 4 pairs of Darn Tough socks. I wouldn't go any other way. They have a great warranty. If you get a hole, anything, they'll just replace them on the spot. For my camp shoes, I used these TVS. I did bring these TVS in the beginning, but it was so cold that I needed something that was going to cover my feet, and I couldn't really wear socks with these. I kind of look like a Ninja Turtle. But these ones were great. They gave me the 4-wheel drive. They dry quickly. I wore them in the water. I wore them all the time. I really, really love them. And then this is my warm weight. So I just had a t-shirt and some dry, quick shorts and for the summer. And that's all that I wore for all 163 days. So this is it. This is everything that was in my pack. It's about 15 pounds with no food or water. I also want to quickly talk about a couple things that I sent home. So here we go. So I sent all this stuff home at some point. First thing I want to talk about is my med kit. This was that 1-pound med kit. Look at all this stuff that I brought that I thought that I need. I have antibiotics in here. I have tape. I have NyQuil. I have just Band-Aids, just really random stuff that you think that you're going to need, but you really don't need it. You're in town every 2 to 3 days, or every 3 to 5 days. So you have access to this stuff every 5 days. I also sent home my trowel. I did use my trowel in the beginning, but the thing was, is every time I needed to go to the bathroom, I could never find my trowel. And so I ended up using my trekking pole or a stick and then just sending this home because it just wasn't necessary. Sunscreen. I carried sunscreen for a really long time, but the thing is you are in the green tunnel and just don't see the sun. There are some fields that you walk through, but it's just really seldom that I just ended up sending it home. I also sent home this cooking thing that I used, that I never really used. I sent home shelter activities. So everybody thinks that you're gonna have all this time when you get to shelters and you're gonna play games and you're gonna do all this stuff. You're not. When you get to the shelter, you just want to eat and you want to go to bed. You're so tired. If you notice, like I was going to make these friendship bracelets. I never opened it. Never touched it once. I was going to play cards. They're never open. They've never been opened. I sent them home immediately. Don't bring extra activities. If you realize that maybe you do have extra time, then maybe get them later. In the beginning, you don't. So my liner, I talked about this earlier. I sent my liner home about Harper's Ferry. In the beginning, it was crucial because it was so cold at Springer Mountain. We started at the end of February. There was a night that was 9 degrees. There was a night that was 11 degrees. And then we had about 2 weeks that are in the 20s. So if I didn't have this liner, I would have been cold. But with my sleeping bag and my liner together, it was fine. After about Harper's Ferry, I did not need my liner. And I just needed the sleeping bag. Also, when it got super hot, I still used my sleeping bag, but I used it as a quilt. I just unzipped it and draped it over me. Worked great. Gaiters. I wore gaiters for like 1,000 miles. I thought that I needed them, but in the end, I realized once I took off the gaiters, I really didn't get that much stuff in my shoes. Also, the gaiters are really tedious to put on and to put off. They break. I ended up having a lot of repairs, and it was just unnecessary. I sent them home. Some people swear by these, so it's just worth trying if you think. As for my winter clothes, I sent home all these winter clothes. This is about 8 pounds of clothes. I started with a Smart Wool t-shirt. It is worth it to buy more expensive clothes. Smart Wool is, if it gets wet, it's still going to keep you warm. It's breathable. It's really light. I highly recommend it. I also sent home my winter pants. I had leggings, and I had cotton. So do not bring cotton. I carried this Devil's Backbone shirt for a little bit once I went there. But when you're wearing cotton just absorbs like everything. It absorbs the sweat. It smells. It's just not recommended. Use something that's going to be a dry fit material. Don't bring cotton. So I sent all my cotton stuff home. I sent my long leggings home, my cotton and my cotton leggings. The last thing I wanted to talk about is my rain pants. So I ended up sending my rain pants home at the end because when it rains, you just don't wear rain pants because it's very restricting and it's super hot. The only time I ever wore these was at night when it was really windy. So I literally had like all of my layers on and I was so cold, then I would throw this on. But that was in the very beginning, in the first couple of months. After that, I really did not need it. So that's it. That's everything. This is the stuff that I sent home, and this is the stuff I brought with me. So if you guys have any additional questions, please feel free to put it in the comments. And thank you so much. Bye.